All right. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, 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 everyone, to another FNAF reaction stream. And what we're going to be doing today is a FNAF reaction on Gregory from FNAF Security Breach. Apparently, there's been a lot of details, a lot of mystery that we are about to solve. Now, whether that is Gregory being a robot or not, I have no idea. So that's what we have on tap for today for the theory and everything. So can't wait for that. But I guess now that we are in this like just chatting stream and everything, and just because maybe I want to talk about a couple things, I feel like now is like the right time to do it and everything, since I guess it is relevant. So last time we did one of these FNAF reaction theory videos out there. It was on the Secret of the Mimic game, if I'm not mistaken, but whatever the last FNAF theory reaction video we did last week and everything, it was interesting because just, I guess, a little bit ins and outs of Twitch and everything. Whenever we do these FNAF theory reactions, we are on the just chatting section of Twitch and everything, which is the most popular category when it comes to Twitch and everything. So randomly, when I was streaming on Twitch and everything, normally we have like a couple of viewers on these reaction videos or just streams in general, which to me is great. I'm appreciative of anyone watching my streams at all because I enjoy them, and I'm not someone who cares about the numbers or views or anything because that's not why I stream. That's not why I got into stream in the first place. I got into streaming and content creation because I personally enjoy playing video games. I personally enjoy sharing my thoughts when it comes to movies, shows, games, life, anything, right? I just personally enjoy having a platform to share my opinions when it comes to anything. And if I can get people to, come along the ride with me, then to me, that's a bonus. Now, I bring all that up, and the reason why I brought up that I was in the just chatting section, which is the most popular category for Twitch, is because normally we have a couple of viewers on our Twitch live streams and everything, but then something happened. Something weird happened. We got view botted. And way more people, way more viewers, I guess you can say, even though it's not really viewers because obviously it's not real people, it's bots. We got view botted on our last FNAF reaction stream. And the reason why I brought up the just chatting section is because there's millions and millions and millions of people on the just chatting section of Twitch. I was just one of the millions and millions of people. And the fact that I was one of the millions of people out there and I still got viewed by as a small creator, to me was crazy. Now, obviously, I do not bot anything. I don't see a point in doing that. I don't try to get shortcuts or cheat anything because I just don't see it as a point, right? Like, prime example, I'm someone who, got some muscle on me, I'm someone who has been working out consistently the last, 4 years in a row. We work out, 4, 5, 6 days sometimes, most of the time, a week. And I don't do steroids or anything. My gym progress the last 4 years has been throughout my hard work, dedication, commitment. So, I feel like if I'm someone who opted for steroids or, photoshopping all my images and everything, it would feel very cheap. It would feel like all the work and commitment I put into this, the working out and everything, is for nothing because I cheated. I took a shortcut. Same thing when it comes to Twitch and everything, where once again, I don't care how many viewers I have on Twitch, my Twitch or YouTube account or everything. I can have 1 viewer or 10 billion viewers. I'm still going to be me. I'm still going to be, authentic me, regardless of how many viewers we have and everything. So the fact that we as a small creator got view botted was crazy. Now, most people don't bring this up and everything because most people fear that, I don't want to bring up these, view bot allegations because I don't want to be accused of view botting because then that, can get them taken down on Twitch or anything, right? But according to Twitch, because I'm not the one who was view botting, I cannot get punished for other people's actions. So that's why I feel comfortable talking about it, because I was not the one view botting, so I would not get punished for it. So that's number one. And the second reason why I want to talk about it is because when it happened, everything, I was worried. And here's why I was worried. Is because there is a setting on just behind the scenes, but there is a setting on Twitch where you have to be following me for an X amount of time in order to chat or message me at all. I know a lot of people do 10 minutes, and it can go up to, I want to say 2 or 3 months. You have to be following a Twitch streamer before you can message in their chat, which to me, following them for 2-3 months before you can even say hi in their chat, I think is crazy. And I don't know why anyone would ever want to do that. But I bring all that up because right now I have it free where you don't have to be following me. You don't have to be following me an X amount of time in order to say hi in my chat or whatever, because I want to have a very welcoming community, and I don't want to discourage new people from coming in who have never heard of me, never seen me stream before, or they're interested in 2K or interested in FNAF or what have you, and I have to be following them for an X amount of time before I can message them or follow them. Well, they're gonna go away then, because why would I have all these restrictions? So I bring all that up because it feels like the issue's been resolved, and I'm glad I did not have to stoop down to that, because if that happened, I would be very annoyed if I had to turn out a setting where anyone who wanted to chat in my messages or anything had to have been following me for an X amount of time. So I'm glad the issue has been resolved. Now, another thing I was worried about is the fact that the whole view botting thing was happening, everything, people doing it for malicious intent. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but there are definitely people out there. I guess this is a warning sign. If you want to be like me and you want to do Twitch or anything, especially as a small creator, I guess be wary of people who view bot you and target you, because their goal is to view bot you, put a target on your back, so then they can report you to Twitch or YouTube or whatever and say, hey, this person's botting, so now kick them off the platform. Luckily, once again, I have no proof that I was the one botting, so I'm not going to get in trouble no matter what happens. But the fact that someone like me could have maybe been targeted for view botting in a negative way in hopes to get me kicked off the platform, I think is wild to me. But, at the end of the day, that's just the whole YouTube, Twitch, social media life cycle in a nutshell, right? People are, I don't know if it's jealousy or people just are envious of others and they're just jealous or want to kick people off platforms for whatever reason. And the fact that it maybe happened to me is, to me, even crazier. But that's the introduction. That's just something I wanted to talk about and everything, because it's something that I feel like is appropriate to talk about now that, once again, this is the first FNAF reaction video we're doing ever since the view botting incident. And I think it's another reason to bring it up as well, because once again, I did not want to do a last resort where I am restricting my chat, I am restricting people from following me, I am forcing people to follow me for an X amount of time before they can message me in my chat and everything. Like, those are restrictions I didn't want to do at all. But I would have to do it as a last resort if I kept getting view botted. But it seems like the issue has been resolved, so I am glad of that. So I feel like that's something I just wanted to mention. Just, hey, say the channel and everything. We got view botted negatively. I don't know if it was trying to kick me off the platform, which is crazy, but it happened. And I do not have to restrict my channel, which is great. I'm just reading chat for a second. I was playing Fortnite with Alex and Zach and Savannah for 7 hours. I'm so exhausted. I completed the battle pass, so holy W. W. Hats off to you. Well, I'm not wearing a hat. The only thing I have as far as head accessories is headphones, and I kind of need that for watching the FNAF reaction we're about to do. So I can't really have hats off to you. Reverse. Once again, can't really do that. We have Fazbear Fridays. Once again, I have no idea what to call it. I say Freddy Fazbear Fridays just because I love alliteration. So yeah. Alright, but let's stop beating around the bush. Now that we shared the state of the channel and everything, let us hop into what this stream is all about, which is the FNAF theory reaction about Gregory from Security Breach and the truth of him and everything, which I'm looking forward to. But yeah, I just want to give people an insight in the channel and everything, how things are going right now. And once again, I just wanted to share the mindset of the view bot and everything and saying, hey, I will never view bot a day in my life and everything. And if I'm someone who did have to resort to view botting, then to me, I would just much rather just delete my channel outright, because viewed botting to me gets you nowhere. It doesn't get you any positive, any successes. In fact, to me, if you have to view bot or buy followers or something like that, you only put a target on back to get banned. It's not going to lead any success. It's just going to be negatives. So outright risk and reward, to me, it's all risk. So I'm bringing it up that no, I was targeted getting view botted. But anyway.
Escape the Pizzaplex is the next book set to come out in the series of interactive novels for Five Nights at Freddy's, and its release date is on April 1st. But we just got a preview of about 30 or so pages to tease the upcoming release. And I'm not exaggerating when I say these 30 pages have some of the biggest lore confirmations and deconfirmations for Security Breach since the game came out. Frankly, these 30 pages tell us more about Gregory and Cassie than 89% of the Tales in the Pizzaplex stories combined. This book is going to be huge for the lore, but for now we can at least talk about the preview that got released. And I heard your feedback. Thank you for being honest and constructive with it. For the most part. I think I went too far in mellowing out, but I still want to try some different styles, so I think today is going to be the middle ground. Not quite as mellow as I was, but not super fast like I had been going. Right around here. This is a lot closer to my normal cadence. As always, let me know how you like it. But slices, put on your aprons, and let's bake ourselves a theory. Before we got the preview for Escape the Pizzaplex, all we knew is what the summary of the book said, that it's going to be about Cassie trying to escape the Pizzaplex. And since it mentioned people were working there, the assumption was that this was going to take place before Security Breach, and that it would take place in the Security Breach game's timeline. After all, VIP seems to, the week before definitely does. Return to the Pit is strange and frightening, but that's at least 2 out of 3 pretty unambiguous in-game timeline books. So at least until the book comes out, I'm going to assume that Escape the Pizzaplex is similarly in the game's timeline. The section we got for the preview is pretty much the first half of the first night. And I say first night because on one of the preview pages, we can see that there are 5 nights checkpointed out to be able to get to. I also wouldn't doubt if there's some secret 6th night that we have to unlock by doing a specific set of events, similar to the week before. So let me do a quick overview of what happens in the preview and what shenanigans you can get up to before we talk about what lore confirmations are hidden within.
Speaking of 5 nights and everything, and 6 nights and everything, chat, is it kind of weird how the most recent FNAF games have not dealt with multiple nights at all? Like, you have Security Breach and Ruin, which is technically one night. You have that. You have the Help Wanted VR games, which, you know, they're not taking place over the course of nights and everything. Right? Isn't that kind of weird? And I'm assuming the Secret of the Mimic game is also not going to deal with multiple nights either. So is that kind of weird? How the most recent FNAF games have all just been on like one night or something, as opposed to, of course, all the games way back then, it was dealing with 5 nights, a bonus 6th night for lore purposes, and a 7th like fun custom night. Is that kind of weird? Or is that just me? I don't know, let me know your thoughts.
As we knew, we play as Cassie, who, with the friendship of the quote-unquote precocious Gregory, hide in the Pizzaplex until after it closes so they can goof off after hours when all the people have left. Tonight, Gregory says he has a surprise for us, and when we get to Glamrock Freddy, he lets us in on the secret. We're going to play hide and seek, but Glamrock Freddy is going to be it. But as you play through this first half of the night, when you encounter Freddy getting close, he's not acting like his normal jovial self. He's frantic and angry. He's often described as almost wild, throwing arcade machines and screaming for where Cassie and Gregory are, angry. There are several routes you can take in this preview, most of them leading to Freddy encountering you with a scary look, but one of them
is a scary look the headless Freddy from Ruin. Right? We can all agree on that. The headless Freddy with like the stomach mouth teeth. But then it would explain the prototype tats on his foot. But when I hear scary Glamrock Freddy, that's immediately what my mind goes to, is the ruined Freddy, the headless Freddy.
Has Freddy find you when you try to hide in the ventilation shaft in the arcade. And in that ending, we get this scene. "I found you," Freddy cried again and again. He lunges, hand closing around your ankle painfully. He yanks you out of the vent onto the floor of the Superstarcade. "I found you." Freddy looms above you now, scowling, his eyes wild in a way that makes your blood run cold. Something is very, very wrong with him. "You lose." Freddy reaches for you again. You scream. Suddenly, Freddy's chest opens up, and Gregory bursts out, laughing hysterically. What? You don't understand. Gregory starts to say something, then stops, laughter overtaking him again. Freddy, now looking normal, chuckles with him. They have a bit more of a back and forth, and Gregory explains that this was all a prank on Cassie.
"It's just a prank, bro!"
And she's upset by it, but she doesn't tell him because she doesn't want to seem like a spoilsport. Then Gregory smirks and says, "Just wait until you find out what I have in mind for tomorrow." Which, after scaring the hell out of her, is menacing to say the least.
"Just speak into the microphone."
Gregory's a villain.
And the description for the Faz wrench is something used by Faz technicians. We also learned that she was constantly at the daycare, and if you work at a place that has a daycare, they often give you lower rates for your own children. We know that she was able to ride on the Foxy log flume, although it was never open to the public, something that if you worked there, you could probably sneak your kid onto. We know that her dad knew what happened to Bonnie but wouldn't tell her, something that is supposed to be a company secret. So, like I mentioned, it's incredibly heavily implied that Cassie's dad worked at the Pizzaplex in some way, likely a Faz technician because of his Faz wrench. But this book sentence is directly confirming that to be fact, which again, even though it's not a surprise, it's great to have something solid to hold on to.
Agreed, because I've said this in past reaction videos that nothing ever gets confirmed in this series. Like, it's gone to a point where nothing gets confirmed, and what gets confirmed in this series, when it comes to like lore, timeline, theory purposes, is stuff that we just hear about over and over and over again, and we just repeat to ourselves, yes, this must be true, this must be true, even though it never gets confirmed, right? Like, for instance, FNAF 4 being some experiment chamber dealing with sound illusion discs, or a gas chamber on Michael Afton experiments with the Nightmare animatronics, that has never been confirmed by Scott or anybody. But there's so many theories out there that it's like, that has to be true, that has to be confirmed. Also, very similarly, we've never seen Henry appear, right? We have HRY223 audio logs from FNAF 6, and we believe Henry is Cassette Man, and Henry's the one who built the FNAF 6 Pizzeria Simulator, but that's never been confirmed. But people have said it numerous times that Henry was the one who did this, Henry's the one who did this, even though we've never seen Henry appear yet, so he has to be confirmed, right? So yeah, if we waited for anything to get confirmed this series, the sun would blow up before Scott said anything. So any little detail that we can get confirmed is definitely great. Because ultimately it just feels like throwing darts at a dartboard and just hoping and praying something sticks.
In fact, this is a great moment to point out the delicate nature of what confirmation really means. So let's discuss media literacy for a very brief moment. Very technically speaking, confirmation is when something is directly stated to be fact or directly shown to be true. Now, we can get most of the way there without this, and in most storytelling, you don't really need direct statements for confirmation. But FNAF is a special case where the first half of the series is told by an unreliable narrator, and the majority of the modern games are seen through the eyes of people who have optic nerve chips in their brain. But we do have confirmations in FNAF, and Cassie's dad is a great example to showcase the slight difference between something nearly confirmed and something confirmed. Before this preview came out, it was like 99% on lock guaranteed that Cassie's dad is a Phas technician. We had all the facts in front of us, multiple sources telling it to be true, and some of those sources came before she even got a chip in her brain. But it still wasn't technically confirmed. You could argue your way around most of these claims if he's just a weird collector. If he just loves Fazbear, he could have collected a Faz wrench along with the lunchboxes he already did collect. If he was constantly there, her being at the daycare still makes sense, and knowing that Cassie has a penchant for sneaking in after hours, it's not impossible that she learned that from her dad, who helped sneak her into the log flume and he snuck around and found Bonnie. Like, there are ways to explain it without him being a Faz technician, because it wasn't confirmed. It's way more likely that he was a Phas technician, but we didn't know for certain until now, because this book directly states her dad works as a Phas technician. That being said, I'm not saying if something in FNAF doesn't directly state it to be true, assume it's false. I'm never gonna say that. I just wanted to touch base on the idea of confirmation, because I know myself fall into that trap where I say things are basically confirmed or sometimes slip up and call things confirmed when they're not. So I thought this was a great opportunity for a little mini PSA. Don't talk about how the thumbnail for this video says confirmed in it, even though it goes against everything I just said. Don't worry about it. The correct terminology should be strongly implies or reinforces, rather than confirmed unless directly stated.
But the problem is when it comes to like SEO and YouTube thumbnails and, people want to click on the video, if every FNAF 3 out there just said, oh, it's very possible, or it's plausible, or, it may be true. Like, those are words and keywords that just won't get people to click on it. But you say, oh, this detail that has been a complete hidden for a decade now is confirmed and everything, it just goes with the algorithm of like, yeah, this is stuff that people will click on. You gotta really factor in the SEO, search engine optimization.
Moving on to another lore drop we get is about Cassie's birthday. Now, this isn't necessarily a deconfirmation, but it's confusing the facts we thought we knew, and I thought it was warranted to bring up. We know that in Ruin, Roxy mentions that Cassie had a birthday party, and it's a little ambiguous if it was her 11th birthday or just on the 11th, but regardless, Roxy said something to the tune of, "I'm sure your friends will show up to the next one," which implies that Cassie had a birthday party where nobody showed up but Roxy. And we see this reiterated in some of the cardboard cutouts you can find in the AR world.
If I'm not mistaken, it would be Cassie's 11th birthday, because can I see Roxy's full line from that? Can I please see? Okay, so I just re-listened to the audio tape at the end of Ruin, and I'm gonna play it, and then in my headphones, I'm gonna say the line word for word. It's been a long time since I saw you last. If I remember correctly, it's on the 11th. I remember because your number. I remember. Can I not talk? Okay, hold on. Let me replay it again. If I remember correctly, it's on the 11th. I remember because 11 because you're number one twice. So it would be Cassie's birthday being on the 11th of some month, right? It would be on some month of the 11th day.
Namely, these three of Cassie. One where she's doing her makeup, one where she's crying and ruining her makeup, and one where Gregory is coming to comfort her. Now, technically they are two different cardboard cutouts, but I think it is notable that this one where she does her makeup is next to Roxy doing the same motions. So
And I also will say,
strongly implies or your friends will show up to the next one, which implies that Cassie had a birthday party where nobody showed up but Roxy. And we see this reiterated in some of the cardboard cutouts you can find in the AR world, namely these three of Cassie.
So when it comes to these cardboard cutouts, I don't remember about this one. But I know for a fact, this one with Cassie sitting down and crying, Gregory being nuts to her and everything, that one I know you exclusively see when you put the AR Vanny mask on. It's not real. This Cassie Gregory cutout is not real at all. You only see it once you're in the AR world. And we know the AR world is all about manipulating and tricking your mind to say what's real, what's not. So I will counter this point here with these cardboard cutouts of Cassie that the Gregory one is fake. That we only see it when we put the Vanny mask on. If you don't put the Vanny mask on, you do not see that cardboard cutout.
One where she's doing her makeup, one where she's crying and ruining her makeup, and one where Gregory is coming to comfort her. Now, technically they are two different cardboard cutouts, but I think it is notable that this one where she does her makeup is next to Roxy doing the same motions. So either she studied her and is copying her, or this is one scene where Roxy is doing her makeup with Cassie. Regardless, most people saw these cutouts and kind of pieced together a storyline that I myself did as well. This is where Gregory meets Cassie. Essentially, Cassie has a birthday party at the Pizzaplex with Roxy, but none of her friends show up and she has a horrible day. Until a new kid, Gregory, shows up and is there for her birthday, cementing them as best friends. But so far, the book seems to claim a slightly different timeline. They mentioned that birthday party in the preview, and Cassie mentions that it was the worst birthday ever because no one showed up until Roxy showed up and made it way better. In fact, making it the best birthday she's ever had. So if that's the true timeline, then when does this cardboard cutout happen? Because she got the makeup after seeing Roxy, but if she had already met Roxy, according to this book, it would have already been the best birthday ever. So there seems to be some conflicting information here. Either this cardboard cutout is showing us a different time and not her birthday party, or this is a slight change to this up until now unrevealed event, or we have conflicting information, because this also comes down to the idea of Gregory's participation. There's a very important distinction we need to figure out, and hopefully we'll learn in this book about the timeline of events here. And that's if Gregory was under the control of Glitchtrap during this event. As we'll get into later, slight spoilers, but I'm sure half of you already knew, it seems very likely that Gregory was also a servant under Glitchtrap before the events of Security Breach like Vanessa is, as Vanny.
Which is very weird from a timeline perspective when talking about Security Breach, because the books talk about it, that Gregory is telling this Dr. Rabbit, genius hacker, and that's why Gregory's patient 40 sits. Right? There's a ton of details. That's why all the top arcade machines, GGY, Gregory, has the top score in all of them because he hacked them and glitched the games to have the top score in every game and everything. But let's face it, just calling a spade, this is not the game we got. Gregory being this genius hacker, Patient 46, Dr. Rabbit, persona, is not what we got in the game whatsoever. And I've said this, numerous times before, of how it doesn't make any sense. Because in the books, when talk about Dr. Rabbit, Patient 46, this genius hacker, Gregory, the books talk about how he hacked the Glamrock animatronics, he hacked into their servers to make them aggressive. Which doesn't make any sense, because we know throughout the whole game in Security Breach, Gregory, us as the player playing as Gregory, is going through the Pizzaplex and avoiding and hiding these animatronics. Hiding from them. But how does that make any sense? So Gregory hacked the animatronics to be aggressive, but is also hiding from the animatronics because they're aggressive and hunting them down. But you hacked them to make them aggressive and hunt you down. If you didn't do that, they would not be hunting you down at all. So how can we go from, hide away from the animatronics, hide away from Vanessa's security guard because I don't trust her, when you kind of self-inflicted hacking the animatronics to hunt you down? Right, very clearly the story is way different. So that's something that the whole Gregory, Dr. Rabbit, Glitch Trap persona just never made sense to me. Is the idea that the character hacked into the Glamrock animatronics to make them aggressive, but then it's if he hacked the animatronics to make them aggressive, then how do we get to the point in the game where he doesn't trust Vanessa, the security guard, trying to run away from her? All the other animatronics are trying to get you and everything, and you're trying to avoid them. It's you did that. If you did not hack the animatronics, they would not be hunting you at all. It just never made sense to me. But then again, when has this game ever made sense?
If that happens before the events of Security Breach, it could have also happened during this birthday party, and that is very important, because if Gregory wasn't a servant of Glitchtrap during this event, then this is just a very wholesome story of how Gregory and Cassie became best friends. But if Gregory was already a servant to Glitchtrap during this event, then this whole scenario could be much more sinister than we knew. If Gregory was a servant to Glitchtrap, by that point he has access to much of the Pizzaplex's coding and workings, and could very easily changed planned dates for invites and parties. If Gregory changed the dates of the party or the location or anything to mess up the scheduling and made it so no one would show up to Cassie on her birthday party and she would not talk to any of those friends, he could have planned for this horrible day to happen to Cassie just so he could manipulate her into trusting him. And I hear you, why would he do that? Well, we have two options. Either to turn Cassie into another servant of Glitchtrap, or to make her his next victim. After all, if the story GGY is to be believed, Gregory is up to taking children to the Pizzaplex to disappear them with the animatronics. But there's a couple things that go against this. One, if Gregory was trying to make Cassie disappear, why is she still around? They're playing after hours in the Pizzaplex. Surely he could have done it by now. And two, if he's trying to turn her into a servant of Glitchtrap, why isn't he doing it yet? Maybe he will during this book, who knows? Frankly, I'm leaning towards the idea that the party was done on purpose by Gregory under the influence of Glitchtrap, specifically to earn her trust. And the reason I'm leaning that way is because the book explains that birthday party at the very beginning, which feels like they're setting up for a reveal later on. Here's some information on her birthday party, and maybe we'll uncover the truth by the end of the book. But I'm getting ahead of myself because the latter half of this video is all about Gregory. But before we get there, I do need to shoot down a theory that I've been seeing. A lot of people had alarm bells ringing when reading this preview, understandably so, because the very first sentence of the book is, quote, "You are Cassie, a kind-hearted and adventurous young patron of Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizzaplex, and
human best friend." No. And human best friend of Gregory? Ah, nah. There's just no way.
the human best friend of Gregory. The specification that Cassie is Gregory's human best friend was weird to say the least, and something that is worth pointing out.
Gregory's a robot. It's been confirmed.
But some people took that to mean this might be evidence for a Gregbot scenario, that Cassie is being pointed out early as being human to either set up a potential future twist that she isn't human, or set up a foreshadowing that Cassie is the human while Gregory is secretly an animatronic. And I hate to break hearts here, but I don't think that's what this is saying. Because like, look, let's be super real. Like, look me in the eyes. What do you think is more likely? The fact that Cassie is called Gregory's human best friend to set up a potential twist where one of them isn't human, or Gregory, who is shown to be very close with Glamrock Freddy, claims Glamrock Freddy as his best friend. So that way, Cassie is his best human friend. Kind of like how kids in elementary school would be like, oh, that's my best boyfriend, that's my best girlfriend, and stuff like that. Cassie is Gregory's best human friend because she isn't his number one. His number one is Glamrock Freddy. So on a technicality, Cassie gets to be his best friend because she's his best human friend.
For going off technicalities, I don't believe there's a point Gregory ever said, Freddy, you are my best friend, or anything close to that. I don't think that ever happened. For going off technicalities and formalities, I don't believe that ever happened. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the closest we ever got to that sentiment is when Gregory and Freddy were in the like parts and service room where that's the room where you like construct Freddy, upgrade him, do the power module, give him Rotzi's eyes, Monty Claws, Chica Beacon, everything. And they're having a dialogue one-on-one and everything. And they're saying like, you know, for some reason, Freddy is different. He's different because all the animatronics are like protecting Gregory and not attacking him and everything, right? If I'm not mistaken, that's the closest we got of heart-to-hearts with Gregory and Freddy saying, you know, best friend sentiment and everything, is saying that Freddy's different and he's just the one animatronic that's not attacking him, right? But if we want to go off technicalities, that's my counter then. But I'm going with Gregbot.
I think it's at least way more likely than a reveal that it's a robot. But hey, I've done this Stan is Wrong song before, and if this is setting up that we're gonna get a Gregbot reveal in this book, I'll do it again. But alright, I kicked the can down the road long enough. Let's talk about Gregory. Like I mentioned before, there's a Tales from the Pizzaplex story called GGY that I've talked about extensively on this channel. The very brief of it is that a kid is investigating the Pizzaplex to try to find out why all the high scores of the arcade machine are earned by a GGY, high scores that are seemingly impossible. But in his investigation, he learns that this GGY is likely entering after hours with a modified pass, that he has modified the coding of the animatronics themselves, and that the guidance counselors that have been disappearing were all brought to the Pizzaplex after hours with the GGY pass right before they disappeared. But by the end of this story, one of the friends for this group project, who at the time is going by Rab, short for Dr. Rabbit, sabotages the whole project and gets them to fail. This upsets the main character, but Dr. Rabbit, whose name is then revealed to be Greg, promises to bring them—
Yep. Dr. Rabbit, Greg, GGY on the arcade machines. A kid with an upgraded security pass. Greg, GGY. Come on, fill in the blanks, people.
main character to the Pizzaplex to cheer him up and meet his friends. The reveal being that Greg is GGY. So Greg, GGY, Gregory, it's not a big leap to make. When this story came out, most of us immediately assumed that this was a story about how Gregory was working for Glitchtrap at this point in the timeline, which feels pretty solid. And I'm not going to say that I'm the only one who thought of that. Most of us read this and went, oh, Gregory was working for Glitchtrap, he's probably patient 46. It connected a lot of dots. And for whatever reason, by the beginning of Security Breach, he isn't under the control of Glitchtrap anymore. But this book teaser not only supports that theory, but it also supports a very specific timeline of events that I purported in my Gregory timeline like a month ago. The idea that when Glitchtrap was removed from Gregory's and Glamrock Freddy's consciousness, it also wiped their memories. And I'm so confident in that theory, specifically because of the prank Gregory pulls on Cassie in this first night, and how close Gregory and Freddy are.
Let's see. Memories wiped. Glitch trap being away from Freddy. I mean, I don't know about memory wiped because when Freddy goes down under the Pizza Plus the FNAF location where you first meet Burnstrap and the Blob, Greg's talking about how much he remembers coming down here, and he feels his friends' souls are down here. They're so angry and everything. So, to me, that's a stretch talking about his memory being wiped when he goes under the Pizza Platz and he seems to remember that stuff, especially of stuff to remember, stuff related to Afton. So I don't know about that one. And when it comes to Gregory memory being wiped, maybe it's just weird. Like I cannot wrap my head around it because I try to disassociate the GGY Dr. Rabbit storyline in the book and everything and Security Branch Gregory because they clearly are two completely different people. Somewhere in the middle is Scott and Steel Wool intention of the Gregory character, what they're trying to do with it. Because very clearly, Book Gregory and Steel Wool Security Breach Game Gregory are two completely different people. We have to meet somewhere in the middle where there's some common ground because, once again, the details of the book, everything is contradicted in the game, and then vice versa. So we need some consistency somewhere.
He was piloting Freddy in his chest cavity for this prank. Once Cassie starts to scream, the chest cavity opens and Gregory was hiding inside. So if that's the case, why is it then that during the intro to Security Breach, Gregory is scared to enter Freddy's chest cavity, saying he doesn't want to turn into a meat pretzel? This is something he's done before, several times in fact, if he's willing to do it for a prank. Not only that, but they are incredibly close during this time. Like I said, Gregory sees Glamrock Freddy as his best friend. But at the beginning of Security Breach, they barely know each other. Freddy doesn't even recognize Gregory's face. How does this make sense? Well, if when Glitchtrap's control of Gregory and Freddy was released, it wiped their memories, suddenly they're starting from square one, and Gregory has to relearn that the chest cavity is mostly safe. Freddy and Gregory have to re-meet each other and become best friends again. It gives so much weight to this version of the theory that I truly believe in at this point, but there is still one question that the preview doesn't touch on, obviously. If that's true, why does Glitchtrap's control of Gregory end? Most of us have a pretty strong assumption about Glitchtrap's control of Freddy. The crash that happens on the stage, right? When he crashes, he reboots in safe mode, and most of us take that to assume that the safe mode flushed Glitchtrap out of his system. But the question still remains.
It's literally safe mode because when it comes to computers, when you boot something in safe mode, you only turn on the essential programs that are needed to turn on and power up the computer. Right? That's why Freddy is booted in safe mode and why he's not possessed on the Glitchtrap virus, but all the other animatronics are under the Glitchtrap virus because he's in safe mode. The other animatronics, they were not booted with only essential programs in mind. So that's the reason.
Why did he crash in the first place? My version of events is that if, when Gregory was Dr. Rabbit, he modified the animatronics, he may have modified them to protect himself, as Freddy watches the kid investigating GGY like a hawk while he's there. And if that's true, his core programming would have been modified to protect Gregory. And if he broke free, he would have received a directive to find Gregory, and when that directive clashed with his core programming, it causes the crash we see on stage. But then what about Gregory? Why did he suddenly break free and need to be captured? Well, I think it's incredibly likely that just as Vanessa's consciousness is locked behind Princess Quest cabinets, Gregory's
conscious locked behind Princess Quest. Yeah. Yeah, because when you beat Princess Quest 3, that's when you get the 3-star ending of Princess Quest. You see Vanessa away, leaving the Pizza Platz. You see the Vanny mask on the ground. That also leads to Princess Quest 4 and Help 1 and VR2, where that's assuming the end of the Vanessa Vane storyline, which was very, very short-lived and disappointing. Right, so Vanessa's connected to Princess Quest. It's just weird, though, because we've never assumed the yellow character in Princess Quest to be Vanessa. We never assumed that to be the princess. We've assumed that to be Cassidy. Because the text file in Princess Quest is literally named Cassidy in the folder. And plus, the question of if the princess in Princess Quest is Vanessa, then that doesn't make any sense then, because if that truly was Vanessa, then why are there all these glitching bunny rabbits wanting to attack the princess and stop her from lighting all the torches in the Princess Quest games, right? If it was Vanessa, wouldn't Glitchtrap want the princess to light all those torches, which then in turn release Glitchtrap and have the virus possess her body, right? Why would that be Vanessa attacking the bunnies if that's how Glitchtrap gets freed and possesses her body? Why would they be attacking her then? But if it's Cassidy, the vengeful spirit who is always trying to stop William, that makes sense. But Vanessa being the princess doesn't make any sense, because then why are the bunnies being sent to attack them? If isn't the whole goal to possess her body? Why would you want to attack them then?
Consciousness is locked behind Balloon World cabinets, and there's two that we know of. One Balloon World is in the daycare loft, and the other one is in the FNAF 6 basement. The interesting thing, if Cassie's dad truly is the player of Help Wanted 2, he would have been nearby one of those Balloon World arcade machines. But if Cassie, someone who frequented the daycare and was known to sneak around in places she's not supposed to be in after hours, she would have been by the other one in the daycare loft. And I've been saying that I think Cassie's dad beats the second one, and that's where Security Breach starts. But I have...
The Balloon game starts Security Breach. I'm on board with it. Honestly, that is something that is still a mystery to this day that I don't think anyone has solved or has come to an answer. Like, because the Balloon game, it's Balloon Boys Adventure World or something like that, Air Adventure or something. That's something that people still to this day have not solved, or have not even come to an answer of why it's one of the games that you can not only play, but glitches out with the Sun and Moon character if you get to a certain score. No one has been able to solve why that game glitches, right? You know, we know that we can play the Princess Quest games in Security Breach, and we know how that glitches, right? But another game that glitches out, that clearly is playable and has some significance, we got nothing. So anyone able to find an answer to the Balloon Boy minigame, to me, more power to you, because at this point, I got nothing, and I'm willing to accept any answer there is.
A feeling that the true ending of Escape the Pizzaplex will have Cassie finding the Balloon World arcade machine in the daycare loft and beating it, freeing Gregory from the control of Glitchtrap right as they're performing, thus beginning Security Breach. Then she's got to get out of there and look for Gregory later. I truly think, like the week before, Escape the Pizzaplex is the immediate prequel to Security Breach, leading directly to its inciting incident. But we'll have to wait and see for when the full book comes out. Like I said, it's slated for April 1st, but knowing Barnes & Noble, it'll surely be on shelves within the next few weeks. And when it is, I will be...
All right. So, that was a theory. Diving into the Gregory Security Breach stuff, so that was fun. All right. And let me turn some music on just for some chill vibes. Because, yeah, I'm like, you know what? Let's have some music in the background just to add a little bit more flavor to the streams and everything in this screen, this little hub. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this FNAF reaction video going over Security Breach, especially the Gregory stuff. Now, me personally, I view Gregory as a robot. That's just something that just makes sense to me. It's the Occam's razor situation where sometimes the simplest answer is the right answer, because him being a robot explains a lot of the weird stuff that doesn't make any sense. And I also am one to also believe that Gregory is not as innocent as a good protagonist, a good person, as we originally thought when playing Security Breach. Him having more of a glitch trap, virus, antagonistic, hidden vendetta, that also makes sense to me and everything. And to me, that is probably something that was originally on the storyline, but probably got cut when Steel Wool made Security Breach, which is disappointing. I wish things were differently, and we saw the antagonistic version of Gregory since the very beginning of Security Breach, because then that would make things, to me, when it comes to talking about Gregory, a lot easier to talk about, because once again, there's, like, to me, two different Gregorys out there. There's the book Gregory, Dr. Rabbit, under the glitch trap virus, an antagonist, working for glitch trap as well, luring kids, kill them, right, and what have you. The genius hacker, patient 46. There's that Gregory from the books. But then there's Security Breach Gregory, who is hiding in Glamrock Freddy's stomach hatch at the beginning of Security Breach, not trusting the Vanessa security guard character, trying to hide away from all these animatronics who are hunting him down and everything, right? And not really knowing what's going on over the missing children's disappearances, and, you know, who's Vanessa, who's Vanny, who's Glitch Trap, and who's Burn Trap, and who's William Afton, you know, what really is going on at Freddy Fazbear's. Like, a ton of questions that still need answered. So, to me, it's really hard talking about Gregory because there's two sides of things, and hopefully, maybe with this book or some game or something, we can then, you know, Dragon Ball Fusion merge, and then we have some common ground, and we can at least get to some answer where it's like, okay, at least these details merge together. Because right now, we have a Venn diagram where it's two circles, completely opposite, now meet somewhere in the middle and merge together, right? Because I do not think that it's a hot take. I do not think it's a hot take to say that we have not seen the last of Gregory. He'll be showing up and everything, because we know at the end of Ruin, you know, Gregory actually having his own voice, Cassie being led into that elevator, then sent down to her assumed death, but we're probably assuming she's not dead and everything. You know, we want answers to that. Gregory may be sending Cassie down to her death and everything, right? So I can definitely see a world where Gregory shows up again and everything. Cassie shows up again. And maybe we get, since there's like, this is a huge shot in the dark and everything, but since we are already getting some Security Breach Easter egg stuff like that when it comes to Music Man, Monty Gator, stuff like that, you know what? Huge shot in the dark. What if, just if, we get a Gregory appearance in the Secret of the Mimic game? Right? It sounds crazy, I know. It sounds crazy. But, I mean, it makes sense. Gregory being tied to the Mimic and everything, we still have those questions of Gregory being tied to the Mimic and everything. It also would explain the whole, because this is something that we still don't know. And I feel like I've talked about it either when I was playing through Security Breach Ruin on stream and everything, or some previous FNAF theory, or maybe I just talked about it on my own time. Whether I am repeating myself or saying for the first time, we still don't know how the Mimic technology got a hold of Gregory's voice. Right? We still don't know that. Because remember, in the beginning of Ruin, Cassie puts on the Vanny AR mask tied to the Vanny network. She speaks, and that's how Helpy is able to mimic and clone her voice, because there was recording her voice, and that's why whenever you use like the audio lure throughout the entire game and everything, it's Cassie's voice being used, because the Mimic software learned Cassie's voice and is mimicking it. But we know the whole game, every audio thing we heard from Gregory was the mimic. So the mimic had to have heard Gregory's voice in order to mimic it throughout the entire game. That's why every single Gregory line we hear throughout the entire game of Ruin was the mimic. But they had to have heard Gregory's voice from somewhere. So maybe this new game explains how Gregory's voice was cloned and mimicked in Ruin? Sure, it wouldn't make sense from a timeline perspective of Gregory existing from the 70s. That would not make sense at all. But to me, we still need to know the answer to that. Is how does the mimic get access to Gregory's voice and mimic it? Because we see it happen with Cassie, and we know what happened with Gregory, because that's the whole point of the game, is you hear Gregory's voice, but it turned out to be a trick all along. It had to have mimicked it somewhere. So when and how? Right? How? How did the mimic get a hold of Gregory's voice? So that's a huge swing for the fences, is we get a Gregory appearance or nod in the Secret of the Mimic game and everything. So it's a swing for the fences. But hey, if I'm right, if we are playing through the Secret of the Mimic game in June in a couple months and everything, and you see a Gregory appearance, you know what, you're here for your first. So with that, let's see what happens.